I recently made a change in my workflow in the way that I do demo songs for this YouTube channel, and that is that I upgraded from EZdrummer 3 to SuperiorDrummer 3. Now there are some big differences between these two programs, and what I wanted to do today is show you why I chose to start using SuperiorDrummer 3 and why you might want to use one over the other, or both. What's up everybody, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Taylor, and let's just jump right into this. I have a project opened up here in Reaper, and I have my drum track open, and I have an instance of SuperiorDrummer and also an instance of EZdrummer loaded on to the MIDI track here. If we load up SuperiorDrummer 3, that's the sound you get with SuperiorDrummer 3, and here's EZdrummer. So, on initial load up, EZdrummer sounds much more of an in the mix style drum sound. That will come up a lot in this video. Now really, the main reason that I decided to start using SuperiorDrummer is EZdrummer comes right out of the box easy, you know, like the name implies. But that does come with some limitations that SuperiorDrummer doesn't have. But that doesn't mean one is better than the other one. One just might fit your use case better. So I look at EZdrummer 3 as more of like a songwriting mix-ready tool. You don't have to spend time mixing it so much, and it's very limited in that regard, but it is very robust in its songwriting tools. So let me show you what we have here. This is what it looks like when you load it up. And I actually really love the look of this. I think it looks really nice. Now I have some expansions and some groove packs that I like to use. You can use these also with SuperiorDrummer, but let me just show you here. We have Made of Metal, Metal Machine, Metal exclamation point, very metal, and modern metal. I like this modern metal one a lot. Let's load this one up. And if we go into our mixer here, you can see there's not a ton of options in terms of like the actual mixing, but there's definitely enough to get a song written and still sound good. And if we go over here on the right, we do have some mixer presets. So maybe we want to go with the tune track, you know, American. Sounds pretty metal, right? Let's hear this in the mix. That sits really well in this mix to my ears, just right away without, you know, really having to do much. So that is one of the nice things about EZdrummer is like you don't have to delve into the mixing if you don't want to. Now I sort of found myself in a situation where I did really want to refine these drums and get more out of them, and that is one of the big reasons that I started using SuperiorDrummer, as we will go into here shortly. Now what's cool about EZdrummer 3, we have a lot more tools in here for crafting our actual song in terms of like the MIDI that it produces. Let me show you what I mean by that. So in EZdrummer 3, we have a grooves tab just like we have in SuperiorDrummer. This will organize all your grooves for you, make them easy to find based off certain things. Like let's say I only want to see downbeat stuff, so I can click that, and I only want to see the fills that are downbeat related. It will filter all of your grooves into this nice little list for you here, and you can actually favorite these lists. So like what I'll do a lot of times is when I'm trying to find drum sounds, I will just like loop a part that I want to hear. And then maybe I like that, I'll star it, and then you can actually select this star here in this menu, and this works the same way in SuperiorDrummer as well, by the way. But you can star that, and then you could just acquire like the favorite drum beats, so that way you can easily go through, pick a bunch of different grooves, and then refine that list when it comes time to choose grooves for the song. You can even take these grooves, drag them down here, and then let's say, you know, we want to edit this MIDI. Without actually going in and editing the velocities and stuff like that. So it gives you some really cool options here. We have this opening hit option, right? So maybe I want the opening hit to be a China instead. Now, and you can see we have the power hand hitting the cymbals, so maybe I want the power hand to be hitting the snare. Let's see how that changes it. So it just moved those cymbal hits straight up to the snare. It's just pretty cool. It's pretty cool how this works like this. And then you can change the amount of something here too. Like let's go to add more snares in. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna add more snares. Let's just go crazy with it. Let's add 33 total snare hits. It just adds all those snare hits in for you, and then we can double click to reset that. This stuff just makes writing easy. just as the name would imply, you know, it's just very, very cool. This is most of the stuff that I use. Now, there are some other features in here that are pretty neat as well. We actually do have a grid editor here. So we can open this MIDI groove in the actual grid editor. We can turn the humanize feature on, and we have a bunch of different options here. Velocity style, like we can have blast beat velocity. So what that will do is make the snares a little bit lighter. Like if you're having a problem, which happens a lot when you use a lot of blast beats in metal, you know, the velocity hits sometimes will be all the same. And it sounds very robotic and chaotic. You can go like blast beat velocity style in here. Turn the dynamics all the way up, it will give us more fluctuation between our dynamics. If we turn it all the way down, it will give us all the same dynamics, make it more like consistent sounding. Again, double click to reset. Do the same thing with these velocities here. Randomize the velocities more and make it sound more like a person. You know, there's just like a lot of really, really cool songwriting tools in here. I mean, you could go really, really deep into crafting the MIDI groove here and really getting exactly what you want out of the MIDI groove. And it's pretty straightforward and easy to use. The user interface is very nice and it works really well. And then we have Bandmate. Now, if we wanted to, for example, let me drag in a guitar DI and we can see what this loads up for the guitar DI. So I'm gonna go, it's preparing the track now, so we're gonna see how this works out. So this is just the guitar and the drums that it produced. Sounds like DuckTales. Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Don't act like you didn't watch that show when you were a kid. Over here on the left, let's select metal, and we'll go open hi-hat F. You know, if you needed some drum ideas and you don't know where to start, that might be a good way to do it. In full disclosure, I don't really use this feature much, but I think it's really cool that it exists. I think it's cool that they give you that. So now that you get the idea of what EZdrummer does and what it's more geared for, like I said, in my opinion, I think it's a great songwriting tool. It does that really, really well, and it has some good pre-mixed drums to go along with it. Let's go back into Superior Drummer now. Again, when you load this up, it is not nearly as mix ready, and that is because if we just go straight into the mixer here, you can see the amount of options that we have. That might be overwhelming for you. This might be reason enough to be like, I don't want to mess with any of that. I just want to stick with EZdrummer 3. But if you're like me and you're into the production side of things and you want to sculpt your own drum tone, your own drum sounds, I think that Superior Drummer is definitely the way to go. So my whole idea when I was doing this is like, hey, I want to be able to take my EZdrummer grooves that I've created, but upgrade the set, get like a better sound out of the drum kit. And that's really my main motivation for wanting to go to Superior Drummer 3. Now you still have the groove section, and like I said in EZdrummer, this is like 90% of what I use in EZdrummer when I'm writing music, so I didn't really lose any of that functionality. I don't really use the more advanced features, and if I did, if I really wanted to go in and modify something without having to go in and manually edit MIDI notes, I'd probably open up EZdrummer 3 and use some of those more fine detail crafting tools that you have with EZdrummer 3. You do have some of them here, it's just not as robust. We could still filter things, we could still star things, you know, that's, like I said, that's the majority of what I use in here. We also have this tracker program in here, so like let's say that you have drum tracks, but maybe they weren't recorded that well, or you just want to replace them with other sounds, you could actually use this to retrack your drums with MIDI notes in Superior. Let's load up some drum tracks in here and see what happens here. So it's analyzing my drum track now. So this mix is the original drums. So there's the kick that it found. Let's listen to the snare. And it is not quite finding these blast beats. So I can actually adjust the threshold here. Now this would work infinitely better if I had separated tracks, but you can see it's a really, really great tool. Like maybe you're doing a mix session and the drums just weren't recorded that well. It happens all the time. This is a really good way to bring Superior Drummer in and accent the drums that you already have, or even just replace them altogether. And you can hear the sound quality is just really good. again, man, it's like, you know, going off a mixed track, I'm really, really impressed with how good of a job this does. Now let's go back to the mixer, the main reason that I started using Superior Drummer 3. I would suggest, if you're new at this, just loading up one of the mixers that they already have. So this is just the default Superior Drummer 3 kit. You can purchase expansions, you can import your 𝗦𝗦𝗔𝗡 expansions if you already have expansions for 𝗦𝗦Drummer, but let's see what the metal 𝗦𝗡𝗏𝗏 kit sounds like. And you can see this already loaded up all of the mixer controls and everything. Someone's already done the work for you here. So you can just go in and kind of tweak it to your own personal taste. Let's hear what this sounds like on our drums that are in the song. It's really not bad. We are getting there. Let's go in here and let's look at the mixer presets. So we have a metal and heavy rock mixer Holy balls, dude. Look at all these presets here. Iowa. Like Slipknot? That's cool. Let's do that. Sounds just like it. Oh my God. Okay, that doesn't fit for this. That's not like really what I had in mind, but it's cool that it exists. I really like that. I'm really stoked on that. And you can click any one of these down arrows and just select parts, like if you like specific parts of the drum set but not others, and you can just mix and match them if you wanted to. Again, very cool. But like you can see, there's just a ton of stuff in here, man. Look, there's a Bob Rock, there's Andy Sneap. Let's do an Andy Sneap kit, right? Right? And then again, you know, we could take this and say like, I really like this drum sound. Let's work with this here. And maybe, for example, we want to work on the snare a little bit. So we'll just solo this and listen to the snare. And you can see all the different stuff we have going on with the snare. Let's just, let's turn this tape simulation off. Take the EQ out, take the transient shaper out, move the EQ up. Let's open up this compressor here. Let's work with this a little bit. Something like that. Let's see if that snare is punching through more now. Now, am I saying I can mix better than Andy Sneap? No, I'm just trying to give you guys an idea of what you can do here. And these are just the normal drum tracks. There are buses that you can create, you know, if you want to take all of your different snare drum mics, because on some of these kits, especially like with the expansions, you'll have like a snare top and a snare bottom and like a snare side mic and like a snare ambience mic. You know, you can get a lot of different snare drum mics, which creates a really cool drum tone, but sometimes you just want to be able to consolidate that all into one track so you can turn it up and down on its own. You know what I mean? And one last thing here that I really enjoy about this that I think is kind of important, you actually have stacks. So what stacks are is you can incorporate samples into your drum tones. So for example here, with the kick, we already have a stack. We have this Gretsch bass drum, and then the stack on here is this punchy kick. It's an articulation. So that way, you get that sound instead of just that sound. Let's see, the snare has a stack on it as well. Maybe we want to add something else in here. We can add our own samples if you have your own samples. And the way that you do this couldn't be simpler. You literally just find the snare sample that you want to drag in, and we just drag it on the instrument we want to add a stack on, so in this case the snare drum. And it asks you if you want to add, replace, or add an instrument. We just want to add to the stack, snare, center, boom. We have a crazy snare on there now. Now there is a little bit of limitation when adding your own samples, and something that I really hope gets addressed in the future, because I think it'd be really cool to add your own sample banks in that get accessed randomly. You can only add in these one shots, but we can tweak this a little bit, and let me show you how to do that here. So let's say I have another velocity layer that I want to add, you know, a slightly lighter hit of that same sample. I add that in, and I add that to the same stack. So you can see one of these is really hard and one's a little bit lighter. So we're going to go into this first stack here, and we're going to go into the velocity gate, and we're going to change this from 100 to 127. And then the one below, we're going to change this from 60 to, now you don't have to choose these exact numbers, these are just the ones I'm choosing. We're gonna go 60 to 99. So what that means is the velocity of the MIDI notes that trigger the snare, if they're between 60 and 99, you're gonna get this sound, slightly lighter sound. And if they're 100 to 127, you're gonna get this sound. Now let's add even more in there, because why not? We're gonna add a light layer in there as well. And then with this one, we'll go 0 to 59. So that way we're covering all of our velocity ranges between 0 and 127. And we're gonna turn this down as well. So we have hard, medium, soft. Well, let's listen to it. And to me, that just adds enough versatility to really make this usable. Again, I think it would be really cool if they added sample banks so you could put like 6 samples of the same velocity layer in there, and then it would just randomize those. I think it would make it that much better, but this totally works. Now, if you wanted to, you can use other instruments within the Superior Drummer 3 database, and it will do that for you. So if you go up here and you go to more, let's go stack, let's go to add to center stack, right? And we can open up this box here, and we can choose what we want to add. So maybe we want to add something from the Modern Metal library. Let's go through and audition these drums. I like that one a lot. Let's go with the DW Exotic. So now we have the original snare drum with this one layered over it. So one's very wide and has a lot of spring sound, the other one's very tight, very mid-focus. This should create a very thick snare drum. Let's listen to it. And you do have the full range of all the different velocity layers with the Superior Drummer 3 snare, so that's a pretty cool way to go about doing this. If you have some samples that you really like, though, you will be limited to that one-shot thing. All right, I hope this video has helped some of you out. If it has, let me know down in the comments below. If you liked it, make sure to hit the like button, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.